I'm here with my dog, my teammate. I'm super hyped to have my girl here. Two-time WNBA All-Star, Kelsey Mitchell. What's good with it?
What's up, man?
One unexpected tragedy nearly forced Kelsey Mitchell to walk away from the WNBA altogether. But that same heartbreak became the spark for a dramatic shift in not just her career, but the entire league. Wait until you hear how one unstoppable rookie helped ignite a fire in Mitchell's game that's taken the Indiana Fever to heights nobody saw coming.
I'm a Midwestern girl, born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, 513 kid. It's kind of tough to come out of where I come from because it's so small, and so you get what you get. It's kind of a dense city. It's not as like a Miami or like Atlanta, so you kind of get what you get. And so
Kelsey Mitchell's journey into professional basketball started like a dream. She was a standout at Ohio State University, racking up record-breaking numbers and drawing comparisons to some of the greatest scorers in women's hoops. By the time the 2018 WNBA draft rolled around, fans and analysts alike were certain she'd be a franchise changer for whatever team grabbed her. Go.
Basketball was just always a safe haven. I kind of took it from there, just, utilized what I knew about it. And that's how I knew what my lifestyle was, just through hoop. I had friends through hoop. You kind of gain a lifestyle, and the rest was kind of history. Yeah.
When the Indiana Fever made her the second overall pick, it felt like the beginning of a new era. An electric guard with a lightning-quick release, prepared to lead the Fever to their next championship.
That team winning. Team, not individual, team.
Yeah. And anybody that want to compete and be a winner,
it's about team.
It's about team.
She didn't want to take credit for all of those ratings, but we all realize that Caitlin Clark single-handedly is responsible for the WNBA mattering.
But that's not all. What initially seemed like a perfect marriage between a young star and a struggling franchise soon took a turn for the worse. Year after year, the Fever found themselves in a cycle of head coaches, a rotating cast of teammates, and far too few wins. From 2018 to 2023, Indiana missed the playoffs every single season. No matter how many times Mitchell lit up the scoreboard, the franchise just couldn't pull together a roster capable of translating individual brilliance into collective success. Coaching changes became the norm, 4 different head coaches in 7 seasons. Each new system promised a culture shift and a strategy reboot, but the results never matched the high hopes.
It's been a difficult year for me from a standpoint of personal. I lost my dad 5 or 6 months ago, so that was tough. And
for a player who had dominated college basketball, the transition to a team that couldn't even sniff the postseason was jarring. Kelsey Mitchell was scoring 16 to 17 points per night like clockwork, yet the losses piled up.
I figure out whether I would keep swimming or if I would sink individually. I'll be honest, I didn't know what would happen in my career.
It was enough to make anyone wonder how long she'd stay loyal to a franchise that looked permanently stuck at the bottom of the standings. But listen to this. Even amid the turmoil, Mitchell's work ethic never wavered. Stories circulated around the league about her tireless off-season training and her relentless post-practice shooting drills. She'd arrive early, leave late, and maintain that fierce competitive drive no matter how bleak the scoreboard looked at the end of each game. For Mitchell, basketball wasn't just a career, it was a refuge and a calling. Little did she know, however, that life was about to throw her the toughest challenge she'd ever faced. A challenge that nearly made her give up the sport she loved. In March of 2024, Mitchell lost her father. To call him simply her father wouldn't do justice to the role he played in her life. He was her unwavering support system, her first coach, her biggest fan, and the one who instilled her passion for the game from day one. He critiqued her mechanics, pushed her to shoot extra free throws, and never let her settle for good enough.
Season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400.
When he passed, Mitchell not only lost a parent, she lost the bedrock of her entire athletic identity. It gets crazier. Losing a loved one can shake anyone to the core, but in Mitchell's case, she was also grappling with the reality that the WNBA season was fast approaching. She still had a team to lead, a city looking to her for hope.
Don't look like for me. I never really put it on not necessarily it wasn't a goal. I just knew I needed to train and do what I need to do to keep my name.
And a swirl of rumors suggesting she might request a trade. All the while, grief weighed on her like a ton of bricks. For days on end, she couldn't imagine how she'd find the emotional energy to lace up her sneakers and face the pressure of professional basketball. At one point, Mitchell seriously considered taking a break from the sport altogether. The pain of her loss seemed to drain every ounce of joy she once found in shooting drills and game day adrenaline. "If my dad isn't here to see this," she confided to close friends, "why am I even doing it?" But in the darkness of that moment, she remembered how he always told her to fight through adversity, how quitting was never an option for someone who was born to compete. That tiny spark of memory became the starting point of her recovery. But hold on. The story doesn't end with her simply toughing it out on her own. In a twist Mitchell herself never anticipated, the Indiana Fever locker room became a second family. Teammates rallied around her, offering support that went far beyond basketball. Some checked in daily with text messages, others made sure she was never left alone after practice. Even the coaching staff and front office recognized that for Mitchell to find her footing again, she'd need more than just X's and O's. She'd need compassion, understanding, and a sense of belonging. Here's where it gets even more interesting. While Mitchell was going through the most painful chapter of her life, the Indiana Fever's front office was orchestrating a move that would change the entire tone of the franchise. The name on everyone's lips was Caitlin Clark, the most talked about rookie prospect in recent memory.
I'm here with my dog, my teammate. I'm super hyped to have my girl here. Two-time WNBA All-Star.
A dynamic, high-scoring guard from Iowa, Clark carried a massive following of fans who seemed ready to follow her anywhere.
Credit for all of those ratings, but we all realize that Caitlin Clark single-handedly is responsible for the WNBA mattering.
The Fever drafted her, and suddenly, the spotlight of the entire WNBA shone squarely on Indiana. The whispers started almost immediately. Would Clark's arrival overshadow Kelsey Mitchell, the team's incumbent scoring machine who had quietly fought through losing seasons? Could these two alpha scorers even play alongside each other without stepping on each other's toes? Media pundits, message boards, and talk shows buzzed with speculation. Was Mitchell's time in Indiana about to come to an abrupt end? It gets crazier. Rather than become the overshadowed veteran, Mitchell found herself unexpectedly inspired by the rookie phenom. Clark's presence on the floor opened up scoring lanes Mitchell had never seen before. Defenses couldn't lock in on Mitchell alone anymore. They had a second lethal shooter to worry about. In practice, Clark's infectious competitive spirit seemed to rub off on everyone, reminding them that basketball can be exhilarating when you have the right pieces in place. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop on the next chapter of this incredible story. We'll be here covering every buzzer beater and locker room confession as Kelsey Mitchell and the Indiana Fever continue their quest for the ultimate prize. Stay tuned. This is only the beginning of a new era in women's basketball, but that's not all. Off the court, something profound was happening in Mitchell's life that perfectly aligned with her rekindled spark on the hardwood. She was taking therapy seriously for the first time. After her father's death, she felt overwhelmed by grief and obligations. How to support her mother, how to help her siblings, how to fill the void in their family. Therapy offered a space to voice those anxieties without judgment. Week after week, she delved into the raw emotions she'd tried to bottle up, learning how to cope with loss and find motivation in memory. Of animosity. They joked around in practices, supported each other in interviews, and even started a friendly contest to see who could rack up the more assists in a game. Clark, for her part, credited Mitchell's leadership for easing her transition into the pros, calling her the best mentor a rookie could ask for. But that's not all. With two unstoppable scorers in the backcourt, the Indiana Fever finally began clawing their way out of the league's basement. By mid-season, they had already surpassed their previous year's win total. Fans who had grown accustomed to heartbreak now packed the stands, brimming with anticipation for every home game. Suddenly, Indiana Fever became a trending topic in the WNBA, and it wasn't just because of Caitlin Clark's huge following. Mitchell was dropping career-best numbers, shooting over 46% from the field and scorching the nets from three-point range at over 40%. This wasn't a flash-in-the-pan hot streak, it was a full-blown renaissance. But it gets worse for the rest of the league, that is. Teams that had once circled Indiana on the calendar as a guaranteed win now had to face a lethal duo who could combine for 40 or 50 points on any given night. Offensive schemes, double teams, matchup zones, none of it seemed to slow down the Fever's new dynamic. The synergy wasn't just on the offensive end either. Mitchell took pride in elevating her defensive intensity, often setting the tone by picking up her assignment full court. Clark, too, showed a willingness to hustle for loose balls and improve on the less glamorous side of the game. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop on the next chapter of this incredible story. We'll be here covering every buzzer beater and locker room confession as Kelsey Mitchell and the Indiana Fever continue their quest for the ultimate prize. Stay tuned. This is only the beginning of a new era in women's basketball.